The Every Point Sports Podcast featuring Greg and Jack starts right now.
Oh, welcome in everyone to the Every Point Sports Podcast. I am Jack Stache, and we have our old gamer entertainer with us today. How we doing, Greg?
We're doing great. We're always doing great. It's Sunday. Football's back again. Championship weekend. Super excited. We got two good matchups, two really, really good matchups this year. So I can't wait.
Before we get into all of that, I got out of work a little bit early yesterday due to, we didn't have the greatest weather, but I saw what were you streaming yesterday? I couldn't get onto it, but you were streaming some games on your network. It popped up on my thing. It was like old gamer is streaming, and I was like, oh, all right. So
Was it my Marvel Rivals I was playing?
Yeah, Marvel Rivals.
Yeah, Marvel Rivals. It's a game that a lot of streamers are jumping over from Call of Duty with, so I thought I'd check it out. Everybody that tunes into my channel, they know I'm a big, not only a sports fan, but I'm a comic book fan, a tech fan, a pulp culture fan. I have a lot of passions in my life, and gaming is one of them, and comic books is one of them. And so when you merge those two, of course I'm going to check it out. And
so
it was
the guys
fun.
on it. Who do you get to play as?
Pretty much a nice roster. I mean, they just introduced a whole Fantastic Four. They have Venom in there, Spider-Man in there, Iron Man, Moon Knight, some obscure characters like Squirrel Girl. So it's a lot of fun. It really is, and they're going to be adding more and more characters throughout the life of the game. But it's anybody that's a gamer. If you played Overwatch, it's similar to that. It's a hero shooter game. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun. Unfortunately, my group that I play with, as far as Call of Duty and everything, they're not too much into it. So I'm a solo guy when I go over there, but I've met a couple really cool people over there. That's one great thing about gaming online and talking to people. Yeah, there's a lot of jerks out there. A lot of people that really tick you off, like get under your skin purposely. But you meet a lot of cool people. Like I met two really great guys that I've been friends with for 3 years now. Never met them in real life. But we play 2-3 times a week, another guy I met, his dad was a defensive coach for Florida State. He used to watch me play Madden. I was having trouble with the 4-6 defense the one time, playing against it. I'm like, dude, do you have any plays? Like, you know what I got a week later in the mail? His dad wrote a book on the 4-6 defense.
Oh my God.
So he sent that to me. So it's
cool.
just the relationships you build is really, really nice. It's a great community. It could be very toxic, but like I said, you meet some great people. So.
Oh, that's awesome. I just saw it pop up, and I want to give you a shout out because I didn't have time. I was still driving. I was like, oh, this is quite crazy. And then I went back to driving.
Yeah, I mean, I like to try some different stuff here and there. I'm a big Call of Duty player, but Marvel Rivals, I'm trying to get into when it's just me playing.
All right. Well, we have some coaching hires.
Ooh, do we?
We have some coaching hires. We obviously had the Ben Johnson hire that was very popular in Chicago.
Well, I should say we have coaching hires and then we have a hire.
Well,
all right. Can we say that?
Well, so Dallas has finally decided, or the world has decided for them, because so they hired Schottenheimer, right? I believe that's Marty's kid.
Yeah, Brian. Yeah, mm-hmm.
Brian Schottenheimer,
a lifelong guy. He's been in the league forever.
Yeah, he's been in the league for a long time. He was the OC in Dallas. It does feel to me like Dallas ran out of popular options. Right? They couldn't lure. It feels like, if the New York Yankees wanted, Don Mattingly, or they wanted this Buck Showalter. They wanted this Lou Piniella, and Lou was like, yeah, you know what? it's a lot of stuff I got to deal with down there. I don't. Thanks for having me. I'll go coach the Cubs, or I'll go here, and that's kind of what it felt like. Ben Johnson stayed in division. A couple of the coaching shuffle. You had Glenn out in he's
New
the
York
new
now.
Jets coach.
Mm-hmm.
That's where he was interested most. Let's be honest, right?
Bucks coordinator went to the Jags.
Yeah,
Cohen,
and
right? That's his name, right? Cohen.
Liam Cohen.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Which I have a great, and you probably know the story, but I have a great story about that.
He's gonna find sledding to be difficult, I believe. But
oh yeah, did you?
you know,
Why we're on Cohen for a minute? Let me just tell the quick story. And again, you probably heard it being down in Tampa already, but for our viewers, I got a chuckle out of it actually. So Brett Cohen is the offensive coordinator for the Buccaneers. The Jaguars were looking for a coach. A lot of people that were interviewing for the position said thank you, but no thank you because of their GM, Trent Baalke. He used to be the GM for the Niners, and he is a bad GM. He sucks. All right. He is bad. Yeah, bad. I can't believe he even got a second shot with the Jags, but he did. He's a football guy. He's a football-minded guy. He just doesn't make the great decisions in my eyes. And apparently in these teams' eyes, the two teams that fired him. So the Jags owner, what's his name? I forget what his name is. Khan. That's it. Says, you know what? I've had about enough. No coaches want to come here. Baalke, you're fired. Cohen hears this and says, you know what? I might want to have another interview with them. They call him. They secretly set up an interview. In the meantime, Tampa Bay is trying to make him the highest paid coordinator in the league at that time. He's getting ready to sign the contract. Tampa Bay's calling him like crazy. He's ghosting Tampa Bay. He's ghosting Tampa Bay. And he goes down to the Jags. He takes the job and never truly tells Tampa Bay what he's doing. But I just thought that's kind of funny how a person ghosts an NFL team. I just thought that was funny.
So, okay, a couple things to unpack. I don't think Baalke's a bad GM. I don't know what he did in San Francisco, but hold on, let me get to it. He drafted Trevor Lawrence, right?
That was easy, though. That's a no-brainer.
Okay. Well, how about a some-brainer? He put players around Lawrence that he was comfortable with, okay? And the real problem here became that Trevor Lawrence only throws a good pass to one kind of player, and it's a tall player. Trevor Lawrence cannot hit short players. He can, unless they cut a rug like Christian Kirk. Mm-hmm. That's it, right? So he brought in Christian Kirk, which was good. He brought in Calvin Ridley for nothing, right? And by the way, it didn't work out because Trevor can only throw to high players, right? And so, okay, we brought in Ingram. He ended up injured in the second season, but that was a good addition. How about a some-brainer? Brian Thomas Jr. gonna be a monster. Trevor decided to get himself hurt again because he's not the smartest fellow. Liam Cohen is going to rip out the rest of his hair halfway through the season and start looking back at Tampa Bay going, what did I do? By the way, I've got no problem with someone changing their mind in a situation. I get it. People change their minds. Things happen. Circumstances change. But you verbally accepted the deal. You said, you know what? I'd like to stay here. I'd like to perform as the Tampa Bay OC again, and I will be the highest paid offensive coordinator in the league. And I just think how the rest of it was handled, because you could have called Tampa back. You could have answered your phone, and you could have let them know and kept them abreast to the situation has changed. And now what you'd like to do is revisit the situation you had before. Because you weren't going to go back to Tampa. You already knew that. And so I just think, it feels a lot like Josh McDaniels. And it's going to turn out a lot like Josh McDaniels.
All right. The one thing I will say about Baalke is his first round picks are pretty much he's hit on his first round picks. That I'll give him. But
Everybody
after
does
that,
that, right?
forget about it. Forget about it. And the only time his first round picks hit if it's not a wide receiver. He has never hit on a wide receiver in the
Brian Thomas
first
Jr.
round. What I'm talking with the Niners, AJ
no.
Jenkins, horrible. Passed up on Odell Beckham Jr. Horrible.
That was a long time ago.
But he was our GM a long time ago.
No, but I'm just saying, like
You
in
know,
Jacksonville,
he was the GM. What really has the Jags done? Nothing for him
well,
to get credit for.
well,
Nothing.
the Jags have done nothing because the Jags players have done nothing
But
because the
it's up to
Jags
the GM
players
to
aren't.
bring in the type of players that either A, your quarterback can throw to, or B, that your coach can coach.
I think your biggest problem in that whole division is your biggest problem on that whole team's Trevor Lawrence. No one wants to say it, and it's really unfortunate. It's unfortunate, and he either will change it or he'll be the biggest NFL bust of all time. Of all time. Because I don't want
I
to
don't
hear
know of all time. There's some pretty bad ones. Like Tim Couch. Like I remember back in the early 90s, some of these quarterbacks that were coming out that were supposed to be a generational
Tim
talent.
Couch, Jamarcus
Like they
Russell,
were
I get it.
horrible.
I get it.
Horrible.
They never got a second contract.
I get it, but
That's why.
Lawrence is way better than those guys were.
He got a second contract that he's
You know?
not going to come close to.
No, and I agree. But unfortunately, that's where we are in the NFL. Is
Trevor
a lot
Lawrence-
of these quarterbacks that are getting signed to these big deals will never perform up to those top tier contracts.
Trevor
Dak's
Lawrence
living
is worth-
proof of that. He's not worth $250 million.
Trevor Lawrence is worth $30 million in an iPhone 4.
Yes.
That's
Listen,
it.
30, 40 million I would pay for him. Not no 50, 60.
And by the way, Travis Etienne came into camp not in good shape. Like all these things, this isn't Bulky's fault.
But it is. These are the players he brought in. These are the type of players that you drafted. You need to know these things. If you draft a player that is notoriously known for not working out in the offseason, that's on you.
Well, he is known for working out, just didn't this year. And it just to me, it's just a little interesting. By the way, brought in a quarterback whisperer. Doug Peterson does well with quarterbacks. It's just your quarterback sucks. And a generational and this, that. I'm telling you what, like, you want to stack them up against each other. I'll take Sam Darnold over Trevor Lawrence. And I don't like Sammy Boy.
Yeah, I mean, right now it's hard to dispute that. I mean, Darnold had a great year. Lawrence had a better year than he had last year, but it was still a down year. It was still a bad year for him.
It's just,
But again, I don't put it on him. I put it on the organization. That organization has done nothing since freaking I don't remember what the hell his name was. That quarterback that was there. Huh?
Here's what it's like to me.
What was the quarterback's name there when they beat the Steelers and everything? They had Patrick Ramsey on the team. Like they had a freaking killer team. That defense was nasty. I don't. No, that was the Panthers.
No, it was the Panthers. It was Mark Brunell then.
That's who it was, Brunell. Yeah.
But look at it's like everyone blaming the Detroit Lions for how bad Matt Stafford was at times. Oh, but Matt, okay, come on. What did they ever do for him? I'm going to tell you what they did for him because I can, and I did the report on it. What the Detroit Lions did was the Detroit Lions drafted Matt Stafford. They drafted a left tackle, and they drafted Calvin Johnson in succinct years. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So to put any of the responsibility on Matthew Stafford is a joke. By the way,
and Mike Williams, too, who was supposed to be good coming out of college.
He came. He had a winning season. They won the division. And then the very next year, they participated real poorly, and they blamed the coach. Well, look at what the players did. They did nothing. They were awful. It was the same scheme. It was the same everything. Like, I'm going to blame the guys that are on the field. I'm so sick and tired. Like, I know we want to fire coaches, and they're not motivated enough. The statistics are embarrassing. You went from 41 touchdowns, Matt Stafford. You went from 41 touchdowns to like 20, 23. And like, You threw 23 halfway through the year before. So to me, it's insane. Trevor Lawrence went and he was challenging Patrick Mahomes the one year, and then nothing. I'm out on blaming general managers that just do the right thing. You know, I understand if you have the 5th pick and you roll the dice on somebody, but they were propping Trevor Lawrence up next to Andrew Luck in the Hall of Fame, or at least the College Hall of Fame. And it's unfortunate that, like, you know, hey, I brought you talent. Are you good enough? Because I'm going to tell you, if you brought Tom Brady, I'm talking 2 years removed from Bledsoe. If you brought Tom Brady, Calvin Ridley, Ingram, it's like some of these players, he did nothing with them. He made them worse, actually. Calvin Ridley became worse playing with Trevor Lawrence. He was actually better in Tennessee this year.
Yeah, I put more stock into the coaches and the GM than you do. It's coach's job to coach up. It's the GM to put the right people on the field for the coach to coach in whatever system they're running. That's why it's so important to have the coach and a GM attached at the hip. I don't like this separate stuff.
Nick
What?
Foles is better than Trevor Lawrence then.
I mean, no, he's not.
He won a
He's
Super Bowl.
not. He won a Super Bowl, but he won a Super Bowl because of the team he was on. That's like saying Trent Dilfer was better than Dan Marino because he won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, but Dan Marino was generational.
I'm just saying.
Toilet bowl.
I'm just saying. Trent Dilfer won the Super Bowl.
Nick Foles also threw for the yards. He threw for
listen, that was a special like 8-game stretch for them. Foles just hit it at the right time. He did it before. He did it before with the Eagles when he cashed that into a huge ass contract with Green Bay, right before they drafted Aaron Rodgers, or right before Aaron Rodgers started. They brought Nick Foles, that was Matt Flynn they brought in.
Matt Flynn,
yeah, Nick Foles was the Jags. Was the Jags that he went to. Big contract with them. Didn't end up doing nothing with them. Goes back to the Eagles, has a storybook second half of the season.
Yeah.
Some organizations just don't win, no matter who's their coach, no matter who their quarterback is. Lions was one of them until they did a whole culture turnaround. Jags have been that way since they've been in the league, except for maybe 2 or 3 years here and there. The Cardinals, they're another organization like that. They're notorious for being like that. The only time they had really good teams is when Kurt Warner went over there.
They have a bad quarterback too.
No, you're right. They do. But they have a quarterback that is that still gets a pass because he's exciting.
Yeah, and you're right. That's true. He gets a pass because he's exciting. And here's the other thing, too. There's still people in that building that went to bat for him. That's the other problem. Yeah. That's really, and you know what? Maybe Balky was still going to bat for Lawrence.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're going to bring in, this could be a thing. Now you're going to bring in a general manager that didn't draft him, which makes it uncomfortable. Right? And maybe Liam Cohen really has a quarterback competition, because I'm going to tell you, there's not a big difference between drafting number 1 and a guy at number 6. Mac Jones looked more competent than Trevor Lawrence. He didn't look like he had a more live arm. He didn't look more athletic. But when he knew defenses weren't guarding Brian Thomas, he just threw the ball. And when they shifted double teams that way, he went in the opposite direction. I don't know if Trevor knows how to do that. I really don't.
Mac Jones didn't have a bad start first half of his rookie career.
Yeah.
He looked pretty good. Like the New England was getting praise for drafting Mac Jones, and the Niners were getting shit for drafting freaking Trey Lance, because it was supposed to be the other way around. They were talking about Shanahan wanting Mac Jones.
So maybe that's the reason why you get rid of a GM, because he'll constantly just go to bat for the guy that he drafts.
No, the reason why you get rid of a GM like Balky is, one, because he had a reputation that people didn't want to work with him. There's a reason why coaches, like you as a coordinator, you have a head coaching opportunity. You're not taking it because of a GM. There was multiple interviews that they had with offensive coordinators that did not want the job because of the GM, because of Bulky.
We'll see how good those coordinators do.
You know, listen, I'm just saying. I mean, the Tampa Bay Bucks had a nice year. They scored a lot of points. There's a big difference between being a coordinator and being a general on your team.
Oh,
You
yeah.
are the guy. Huge difference. So there's not a lot of people that can do it. Who even knows if Ben can do it? Ben Johnson.
Ben Johnson, yeah.
Yeah. Who knows? You know, the way he called that last game, it's like, what the hell?
Little curious, by the way. He got hired in the same division.
You know, who was it? Tom Brady was on Colin Cowherd, and he was talking about how he believes it is a problem with these coordinators interviewing for coaching positions during your playoff run.
Here's the other thing too. I like how Tom Brady does all these interviews directly after I say something. That's what I like. I said that. Did I not?
I was watching Speak Something
Speak for yourself.
on Fox Sports, and I believe it was Shady McCoy telling the story about Sean Payton. And Sean Payton, his last year, he was in his office, and he said he peeked in, and he had all this stuff about broadcasting and different television companies and this and that. And he looks over at Sean, and he's like, "We got what's going on?" He goes, "Oh, I'm just wrapping this up, you know, a bunch of interviews and stuff. I'll be getting back to the game plan soon." But he split his focus from a game plan on job interviews. Like you're in the playoffs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there's no reason for that to happen. That's why I believe the NFL needs to do something like free agency. Free agency doesn't start until this date. Well, coaching hires can't start until this date after the season.
Well, you just gotta. It's pretty simple, right? So you just have to figure out, or not figure out. You just have to fix your language, right? So you can interview coaches when your season has come to an end. Okay, but see, you just have to change the language too. You can interview you can interview coaches when the season has come to an end, and the season does not end until the Super Bowl.
Correct. That's what I believe should happen.
Any contact, any this, that, and the other. By the way, you got a lot of time until April. If guys that are in consideration to be head coaches and they know who they are can't get their act together on a college draft board, like you watch college football, some of it,
yeah,
you know, as a head coach, right? If you in your scouting department can't get things together in a month and a half, what do you do with your time?
Yeah,
because I can, and I got about as much time as they do. You know, we both work really hard as well outside of doing this, and it's not that difficult to figure out certain guys that you need. You shouldn't even really have to concentrate on the first two rounds. You know what the talent is. You should know what that team that could be bringing you in needs immediately. It's not all that difficult. It really isn't. This whole, oh, well, you need this, and this guy's shuttle time. Come on, man. Does he tackle? Because I don't care where the shuttle time is if he can't tackle. Like, we can get past that. Oh, I could teach tackling. Not at this level.
Yeah.
Not at this level. You can't.
You
know, so those are some things. So I was talking about it for weeks too. I want to bring this up. Talking about it for weeks that we should just rename the AFC West the Champions Division. That's what I've been saying it for weeks because I'm like, you know, outside of the Raiders, you got Harbaugh, you got Reed, and you got Peyton running around there. And you know, somebody knocked me and they said, well, Harbaugh doesn't have a Super Bowl. I'm like, come on, he went from college.
He does have a Super Bowl. Oh, wait, who?
Jim
my Harbaugh?
Super Bowl.
Okay, yeah. He's been to him. He's been to it.
Did you just say my Harbaugh? Oh,
my
Harbaugh. I'm gonna get you I'm gonna get you a Chargers hat. That's it. That's it. My Harbaugh. You don't know my Harbaugh. No, Jim doesn't have a title, but he has a national title, a national championship, and he played in the Super Bowl. So I call it the the champions division. That's what I was calling it outside of Antonio Pierce. And you know, in the offseason, by the way, Pierce had Tom Coughlin running all over that building. So there's not a lot of difference, I don't think. Okay. And then they go and hire Pete Carroll. Hey, Pete's back, baby. They go and hire Pete Carroll. So it's truly the champions division. That has gotten impossibly hard. I guess the two things, the one thing I want to ask you is Jim Harbaugh considered a player's coach? Yeah. Is he?
But
No,
he
I
can
don't.
start rubbing players the wrong way because he breathes competition.
Yeah. All right.
I don't care if you're Herbert or the quarterback. I don't care if you're him. He wants somebody there pushing him. He wants somebody there to try to unseat his job. He wants him to feel uncomfortable. He doesn't
Yeah.
want any player to feel like this spot is mine. He lives, breathes competition. And
All right.
That's where it ran thin with the 49ers. A lot of people couldn't take that upstairs.
Okay. So, all right, then we'll put these coaches in categories then,
Mhm.
right? Because I think all coaches breed competition. I think they all want competition. I think that there's a way to get guys to compete to make it fun, and then there's a way to get guys to compete that makes it uncomfortable.
And that's Harbaugh. He wants you to be uncomfortable.
Right. And so, you know, here's the thing. I'm already uncomfortable. I'm already uncomfortable in my life, right? Because I have a life going on outside of this.
Mhm.
I would appreciate me if the competitions between guys were fun and I would still compete. Right? I got a wife, I got kids, I got schools, I got this, I have all these other things. I'll compete my tail off if it's fun. If you're trying to make me feel like I don't have, like, if you're taking my name off my locker, I think I'm done with you because I don't need that. You know, this is my locker, and it's just that's childish to me. I think him and Sean Payton are the same.
Oh, absolutely.
I would,
He's come. I know he didn't coach in that same coaching tree as Parcells and them, but he's still bred into that old school coaching. Yet you guys have to remember who was his coach when he was with the Bears. Ditka.
yeah, yeah,
You know, he's an
yeah.
old school guy. He is. When you think of like running the ball, good defense, trenches, kind of like Parcells, Sean Payton way of thinking. He's right in that breed.
So, and then you have, right? So you have Harbaugh and Peyton over here. This is how we're going to split this division of champions because that's what I'm calling it now. I'm not calling it the AFC West. Silly. I know where the division is. Okay. Well, where is it on the map? Oh, is it on the East or the West? It's the division of champions. And I think Harbaugh and Peyton fit over here. And maybe their style works. I think it's going to be tough for them to get free agents. They're really going to have to build their team.
There's some free agents that just want to win.
No,
like those coaches win. They're proven winners.
And then you have Reed and I think Pete Carroll over here in this basket.
Mm-hmm.
And listen, Pete Carroll just wants to win games, but he does breed a fun competition. Like I think that Pete Carroll, you know, would be like, all right, guys, we're gonna have an agility test today. And you're like, okay. And where Harbaugh and Peyton have them running cones and all this other stuff, Pete Carroll will be like shirts versus skins, dodgeball. And you're like, this is the best day of practice ever. And by the way, they're both getting the same job done. And you can argue that dodging a ball is more accurate for tackling and stuff like that than cone drills. Pete Carroll is going to be very interesting.
It is, and I totally agree. Pete Carroll is more of the rah college coach. It goes back to even you could break it down to even your manager at work. You have two different styles of managers. You got your managers that you want to work for, and then you got your managers that you work for because you don't want to lose your job.
Yeah.
Those are the two types of managers that there is. You got managers that you will work for it, the way they speak to you. They make you feel important. They make you feel like you do your job very well, and you'll run through a brick wall for them. And then you got your other managers that are just always barking orders, always putting you down, saying you're not good enough, and you're very easily replaced. Yeah, you got two different types. It's the same thing. Same thing for coaching. Same thing for management. Every upper position has those two types.
And so I think, and by the way, I think Harbaugh kind of fits in the middle. We're really looking at it, right? To be quite honest. So I think your most player friendly coach, man, it might be Pete Carroll. I don't know. Andy Reid's fun too.
Andy Reid's right up there. He's always been that.
I know.
Yeah.
I know, but like, I still remember the draft, and he's probably a tough guy to crack, right? Because he's always in the gym, he's always buff, he's working out, he's really serious. And I just remember the DK Metcalf story.
Oh, okay.
Where DK Metcalf got off the plane. He's not off the plane 3 minutes. And the guy's like, I have to drive you right to the facility. And he's like, okay, sure. So he drives right to the facility. And there's a guy downstairs, and he's like, yeah, listen, DK, I don't mean to make a big deal about this, but Pete Carroll wants to see you immediately. I don't know what you've done. I don't know what you said, but Mr. Pete Carroll needs to see you immediately in his office now. Anyway, DK's like, oh, geez, I thought this was going to be a different experience. I'm in trouble in the NFL already. All right. So he goes upstairs with his bags and stuff, and Pete Carroll's standing behind the desk with his shirt off. And he looks right at DK Metcalf, and he flexes. He goes, hey, what do you think of me? And DK Metcalf goes, this is exactly what I heard. All right, great. Yeah, you're in pretty good shape, coach. He goes, yeah. He goes, I can't wait to get in the gym with you. He goes, I tell you what, I'm really excited to have you here, blah, blah, blah. And that's great.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of guy that I like, because I'm like, all right, he made me laugh. I'm going to go work my tail off. That's a fun guy. And, I understand he's going to be mad sometimes, and he's going to be upset, and we're going to be losing. But here's the thing. For me, it was always a difference. When you're losing, right, and trying your hardest, the yelling guy always yelled louder. Like, well, I hear you. You're yelling. Right? I know. I'm trying, or I'm doing my best. When you were losing and the fun guy was yelling, he would always find a moment of levity, because he knew that the browbeating was just too much, and you just needed maybe to laugh and to loosen up, because otherwise we're going to all go crazy here. And you need that minute. And I think that's very important. Pete Carroll's going to be a really good Raiders coach. I think it's an excellent hire. They brought over the general manager, the assistant GM for the Tampa Bay Bucks. Big deal. The guy can do it. The Raiders are heading the right direction. I mean, I don't mean to get you guys all super excited, Raiders Nation, but you should be.
The only thing I'm very leery about is his age. He's up there, and I'm not saying as far as relating to the players. I'm talking health-wise. I think he has a couple years in coaching left in him, but like, he's up there in age now. I don't know how old is Pete Carroll.
I think he's 73. 73. He got a 3-year deal only. He got a 3-year deal with the team option on the 4th.
Yes. Yep.
And I think what's kind of interesting about that is, the Raiders seem to be like the type of team that after he's done, or they find a better guy or whatever, I think they would move him upstairs. I think he would transition upstairs and become part of what the Raiders do. I do think that division, has gotten tougher. And, Denver looks like they're on the right path. The Chargers look like they're on the right path. But if I had to bet on it, I would bet that one of those teams is not coming back to the playoffs next year, and the Raiders would bump up somehow, some way. Because
I could see your point there, but I mean, the Chargers and Denver had really good teams this year, and now you're giving Peyton and Harbaugh another year to bring in their type of players to solidify that roster even more. I find it hard to believe that the Raiders would unseat them. I'm with you. I think the Raiders are going to be much, much improved, but it's hard to jump over two teams like that when they're already have a roster that isn't totally built for that coach yet. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like
yeah.
they're only a couple years into like a year into their coaching turnaround,
Mhm.
coaching turnaround with the players, bringing in the players that they want.
Yeah.
So just imagine another year on top of that, but minus injuries. Injuries are a whole nother thing.
But
Bo Nix goes down with an injury. Who knows what happens with that team? You know
Pete
what I
Carroll did
mean?
it.
But I'm just saying, you give both of those coaches another year to bring in their type of players. I find it hard to believe that the Raiders would unseat them
Well,
next year.
Pete Carroll did it in one draft in Seattle.
Mhm.
And the only reason why I'm saying is like another year with these coaches is another year of wear and
But they
browbeat.
weren't the NFC West wasn't the AFC Championship West. You know, you're talking about that division. I'm a Niners fan. That division sucked back then. That division was open for anybody that wanted it. The AFC is AFC West, correct? Or East?
That'd be the NFC West, I believe.
No, I'm talking the Raiders.
Yeah, it's AFC West.
Yeah, West. Yeah. That division is just bar none 100 times better than what that NFC West was at that
No,
point.
I know, but what I'm saying is what Pete Carroll did was in 2 seasons basically. He built an offense and a defense basically out of the college draft, right? Let's be honest about it. And no one talks about it. They just bury it in history, and he's the golden boy and all this. That beat and buried and embarrassed. It's the last Super Bowl that we shut off
Mhm.
a Peyton Manning Broncos team. We shut it off.
Yeah.
Like, there is no way. I remember where I was. Do you know where I was? I'm gonna tell you. I was at River Grill
Oh, yeah.
during that Super Bowl. And I watched our good friend, he just had a birthday, Ed Price.
Mhm.
I watched him going, "Man, there's no way this is gonna continue. There's no way Seattle's gonna," and I was like, "They are 4 steps ahead of Peyton Manning. You better just put your money back in your wallet and
Yeah.
don't bet the rest of this game, because
Mhm.
this team is absolutely gonna bury them," and they did. It just got insurmountable. That's the team that Pete Carroll built. Bobby Wagner, still in the league, by the way. So he's in the
Yeah.
playoffs today. We'll get to that in a
Mhm.
second.
No, listen,
Richard
that defense, that Legion of Boom defense was disgusting. It really
but,
was.
that's my
What him and that GM did there was something special. It really was.
Well, but I think he looks for players. He looks for 2 things. A lot of guys look for shuttle time, this, that. Pete looks for personality too. He
Mhm.
wants to see a little bit of it, right? You know, what's Mayfield's great saying, "Sizzle your bacon," right? He wants to
Mhm.
see a little bit of sizzle. And I think he can turn the Raiders around quickly, and I'm telling you that if you're dealing with, you got Andy Reid, who's a great players coach, and then you have 2 guys in that division who are a little browbeating. And if the going does get a little tough next season, one of those teams is gonna slide. I would argue that Denver overperformed their expectations this year, right? With the
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. So I would say it's gonna be them that slides. I don't, you know, the Chargers will build a better offense, and Denver will too, but Sean Payton's a little tougher. And I
Mhm.
do think that he wears, and I mean, he looks like he gets older by the day.
Oh, yeah.
I know we all do, but that guy looks
Mhm.
like he gets 10 years older by the day.
Same thing with Kyle Shanahan. I mean, that guy, he looked like a young sprout kid when he took over. Now he looks like an old man,
Yeah,
gray
he's gonna be
hair and
dead in
all.
5
He
minutes.
looks beat up, beat up.
He does. He looks like he's gonna be
Like, he
so.
used to be, like, a cool guy, you know, coming in, flat brim cap and everything, you know? And now he just looks like this miserable, like, old guy that just got beat up.
Yeah, and you know, it's tough. So, and I'm glad you mentioned that, right? So everybody that ever coached around him still looks all right? Like Sean McVay still looks pretty good, right? All these other coaches that are part of the Shanahan tree or whatever, right? They look
Mhm.
relatively like they're in good shape, you know? Eh, His father, Mike, looked like he was in pretty good shape. Kyle, to me, is not aging well.
No.
And, eventually I think we're going to get to a point where, oh, do you think I don't think the 49ers will fire him,
Mhm.
but I do think we get to a point where he takes a break for a year. I really do.
Yeah,
I
we're
don't know
gonna
when.
have to see what happens next year. While we're on the 49ers here, I just wanna say how excited and I can't even put into words how excited I am that we brought back Robert Saul. He's back into the family. He's back with the faithful. That defense was disgusting when he was with us, and I'm hoping for great things again this year.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up. I think it's embarrassing he needed a first and second interview.
Oh, he didn't get one with us. No, that was the Jags. Not
No,
with
no,
us.
no. There was a report that Robert Saleh had to interview for the Niners defensive coordinator job.
He had to go with their one interview,
What?
yes. Yes.
What? Why?
Yes. Well, because it's formality.
That's ridiculous. It's dumb.
It's formality. I mean, I don't see anything wrong with it. I don't see anything wrong with it at all.
If there was different guys in the building, I'd say yeah, but I'd be like, "Hey,
Mhm.
remember me?"
Yeah, but I mean, everybody changes. Philosophy changes. Let's see if you're the same person when you left the building. Let's see
He
what you
didn't grow
grew at.
hair.
Let's see what happened. He definitely didn't. But
He didn't get
But he's
smaller.
the same guy, at 2 hours before the game, he's out there running the bleachers. Um, he has that Pete Carroll in him, that rah-rah, you know, that excitement to him, which Kyle doesn't. Kyle's different. Kyle's more even kill. So I like to see that on the sideline, that fireness. So I'm super, super excited to see him back. Like I said, I can't even put it into words how excited I am.
Yeah, so I think Sal's a good coach. I do think that he ran into some he ran into the New York media, and you gotta almost be as bristly as they are, and he's not.
Mhm.
He's a gym guy, he's a nice guy, right? He's not a guy that wants to answer the same question 35 times, 40 different ways, right? He's not a, you know, I think he thought he could be a Mike Tomlin. He's not Mike Tomlin.
Mhm.
Mike Tomlin will look in the camera and go, "Yeah, I'm starting this guy, and that's the last time I'm gonna answer that." You're like, "Oh my
Yeah.
god. Mike, are you
But that
okay?"
Pittsburgh media and New York media is 2 different animals, so
No, but I think Mike Tomlin could walk into the Jets media and go, "All right, Joe, I said shut up." And you're like, "All right, I'll shut up." Jesus, Mike, that escalated very quickly. I just asked you what your favorite color was. Like, Mike Tomlin just shuts it down so fast. And where Robert Saleh nices himself into a corner.
Yeah.
And you know what? I think sometimes you just don't want to deal with it.
Mhm.
And I think he niced himself into a corner, and then he had to stick up for his niceness. Like, he clearly told Aaron Rodgers that he was allowed to take this little sabbatical, and then he went, "Yeah, we're gonna fine him." It's like, well, why? For what you said he could do?
Mhm.
That's a little strange. It's like, "Hey, Jack, you can go out tonight." I'm like, "All right, yeah, I'm gonna go out." And then when I come out, they're like, "Oh, you really went out?" You're like,
Well,
"What
yeah,
what
you
is going
told me I
on here? Am I
could.
crazy? I think I'm crazy." Right? You stand in front of the judge and they're like, "See, well, what seems to be the problem?" You're like, "Oh, I'm crazy.
I
They
just think
said I
it's
could go
really
out. I can't."
I think it's very interesting how the, Jets went with another defensive coordinator.
Yeah. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah,
I
what I mean by, but those of you that doesn't understand what I'm talking about, the Jets hired, the Lions, defensive coordinator, as their head coach. So they had Robert Saul, who was a defensive coordinator last year for their head coaching job, and now they brought in another defensive coordinator. You would think, they would want an offensive coordinator, kind of mix it up a little bit. Didn't work out with the defensive coordinator. Let's bring in an offensive coordinator then.
well, and I actually thought this the other with this whole Liam Cohen situation. I almost think that it's forcing teams, or it at least appears as though if you have a good offensive coordinator in the building, that you just make him the head coach.
I mean,
Because
that would be nice if you could do that, a promotion.
because here's what's happening, right? What's happening is that, you know, Baker Mayfield will now be on, I think it's 10 or 11 offensive coordinators in the league.
Mhm.
He's been in the league 6 years, I think, 7 years. And so he does a good job. In fact, he finished first in every category, first or second. So he does a good job, and his offensive coordinator leaves. And
Mhm.
so his reward for doing a good job is having to learn a whole other scheme.
Mhm.
By the way, back-to-back years. He had Canales. He got Canales a head coaching job. And he got Cohen a head coaching job. And you could go, well, maybe they did the good job with him. It's like, well, the variables are the coaches, not the quarterback now.
Mhm.
So if you looked at the one mathematical constant, it's Mayfield. And the only guy that's getting punished is Mayfield.
Yeah.
It drives you crazy.
Mhm.
Because now you had an off season where you could kind of not relax, but okay, I'm going to come back to the same system, and you're not.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I get it. Listen, when Alex Smith was drafted, his first 6 years in the league, he had a different coordinator every year, and it wasn't because they were getting hired as a head coach; it's because we were in constant turnover.
Yeah.
I everybody, and including me, knocked Alex Smith big time, all the way up until Harbaugh got there, and then we finally seen what he could do with good coaching.
Yeah. I mean, they
Listen, I liked Mike Nolan. I thought it was a great story. His dad coached for us in the 70s. He comes in coaching for us. He wants to wear a suit like his dad did, this and that. Reebok makes him a suit so he could wear on the sideline. Just great story. And then just never worked out. He just never, he was a horrible coach. He just really was. Just never worked out.
he should have worked in the suit department at Sears. That's where he should
He
have.
should have. He should have. And then they bring in somebody like Tomlin, the fucking rat. Excuse my language. But you know how he got that job?
Who
By
did?
ratting out Mike Nolan.
Who was that?
Saying Mike never did this. Mike never did that. Nolan didn't do this. He didn't do that. And Tomlin's one claim to fame was he won an Tomlinson.
Tomlinson. Okay.
Yeah. He won an NFL Europe championship back with the Rain Fire. That was his claim of fame. And then he comes over to the Niners. He was a position coach. He was a defensive line coach. Very good defensive line coach, by the way. But he was a rat. He was a rat in our organization. He was a spy. Everything that went on, he went upstairs and told every little thing. And then that got Mike Nolan fired. He took over and horrible tender with the Niners. And then we jumped over. We hired Singletary and then Kyle. Giving everybody a little history lesson on the Niners there.
Jeez, like your face is turning red. You're about to pass out on this 49ers here. All right. Let's get to these games today, right? Talked about coaching.
Mm-hmm.
We gave them a history lesson. I think that's good.
Wait. Before we get on that, we didn't talk about the Bears. We didn't talk about the Bears hire. Do we think this is a good hire for Caleb? Do we think he can grow in this offense? Do we think they have the right players in this offense to run what Ben Johnson is going to run?
Yeah. I mean, there's talent everywhere. I mean, there really is.
Mm-hmm.
You got DJ Moore, who is more of a God. I'm trying to think of. He's not quite the athlete, or maybe it's close. Yeah, no, I would say he's not quite the athlete because I've heard people talk so glowingly of this guy. I'm at the point now where he's probably a top 25 athlete that the NFL's ever seen. He's kind of like a Percy Harvin, DJ Moore.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Hey, Gridiron Helmets, baby. What's up? Sunday Fun Day Football. I love Gridiron Helmets. They're our sponsor.
Yes, sir.
Guys, go over to Gridiron Helmets or gridironmancave.com and get yourself an authentic mini helmet. Look at that, huh? Both that mustache is curled. My mustache is down.
I need to get one of them with my logo on it.
You should. They do.
With my old gamer logo.
Listen, so here's what you do. Go over to Gridiron Man Cave, right? And snapshot, I'm telling you right now, snapshot your business logo to him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome dude. And that's what he'll do. He'll print it out, he'll set it up for you, you'll be good. That's it.
Yeah, we can put it right back here. Got a nice little spot back here we could put it.
I think that's a tremendous idea.
You know,
Like I said, just get with him and he'll set you up, and he's got a fantastic team over there. I'm telling you, it will be zero problem working with that.
if I do end up doing that, what I will do, guys, is we will stream that so you guys could see how easy it is to build a helmet over there.
Oh,
and
okay.
how to order one. We could
All
stream
right.
it. We could have a nice little stream there, and we could show everybody how easy it is to order your custom helmet over on Gridiron Helmets or Gridiron Man Cave.
Yeah, that's a fantastic. I want in on that stream.
Absolutely, absolutely.
That'll
All
be
right,
fun. That's a
so
great idea.
we were talking about the Bears.
Ben
We both
Johnson
agree.
just-
Yeah, like they have a great roster. We talked about it preseason. We thought Caleb Williams had the best roster made up for a rookie that we have seen. Correct? We both thought that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you bring in Ben Johnson with the same people, and everybody forgets about Swift. Like Swift is going to do good with Ben Johnson over there. Ben Johnson knows how to use his running backs. You're going to see a different Bears team. You're going to see a more balanced Bears team. You might even see a run-heavy Bears team again.
I think you're going to see run heavy. The greatest secret that the Bears keep from everybody is this guy. He's a running back for their team. You might know him. His name is Rashawn Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
And he was a backup at Texas. And the reason why he was a backup is because the starter was Bijan Robinson.
Yeah.
And Rashawn Johnson's he's a pounder, right?
Mm-hmm.
And really what you're trying to do is use him as your starter. I know it hurts people's feelings to see DeAndre Swift, but you want to see him and Swift work back and forth together, right? You'll get more
complementary backs.
Right. You'll get more Swift late. Thanks, guys, for the show today. Gridiron, thank you so much. I appreciate you coming on here and giving us some comments. And
that's right. We love it. We love it.
So you want to do complimentary stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
You want to do right. So Rashawn Johnson's your pounder. Good. Do that. To get DeAndre Swift in the game later. And yeah, if you're gonna do 28 carries between them, and maybe 35 touches because you're running some screen passes. If you get the screen passes to work, then you could get DJ Moore on these slants. Then you can get some Roma Duze on some of the bombs, right? He's not a burner, so make him work a little bit less, right? On these
but he can own the middle of the field like a tight end can,
right?
So
I think Ben Johnson will figure it out. He's going to have to spend some time with Caleb Williams, obviously, because Caleb Williams is an enigma. He is. He's a little different, and there's nothing wrong with that.
It's can you coach him kind of up like Patrick Mahomes, how they coached him up. He had all the talent in the world, but they coached him to be what the quarterback he is right now. Can they do the same thing with him, or are they going to turn into being somebody like a Kyler Murray, who has talent, who's exciting, but just can't put it together?
And the first phone call that needs to be made is to Lincoln Riley. That's it. Call Lincoln and go, hey, look, I have this huge project. I want this kid to be successful. I've watched the tape. There's got to be one or two things that I don't know about him.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. I know the things that he's successful with. I know the things that people poke fun at him about. But what do I need to know? There's got to be a little bit extra here. You spent more time with him. So how do
absolutely.
Does
how can I relate to him? How can I coach him a little bit better? What do you think he does best? What can we incorporate in our offense that made him so great in your offense?
Yeah,
that's what makes a great coach, a great coordinator, is being open-minded, being not afraid to pick up the phone and call another coach.
Well, just something as simple as in the offseason. Hey, look at, is he a basketball or baseball guy? Mm-hmm. And if he's a baseball guy, we go, okay, look, Bears or Cubs or White Sox. And if the answer is White Sox, even if it's none of those things, you're showing the player that you care and you're trying to connect and you're trying to, build a relationship together. You know,
Mhm.
if he's a Bulls fan and he doesn't like this team though, and he's not a big Bulls guy, hey man, you know, Michael Jordan runs a NASCAR team. I'm sure you can make that connection and get him down there to meet Michael and stuff like that. But I think there's certain things that you can do right off the bat as a coach to
Mhm.
try and show the player that, hey, look, when you're going to get dropped in a game. Just remember, I didn't get you dropped, and I'll try and fix that to where we can get you into a better situation because I'm here to fix the situations.
Mhm.
That's a big deal.
Do you know who did a great job at that? John Harbaugh. He won a Super Bowl already with a great defense, one of the greatest defenses we've seen. Um, he didn't hold his hat on to that. When they drafted Lamar Jackson, he knew what they had. He picked up the phone. I forget what coach he called in college, but I remember they said he ran the most heavy read option out there, biggest expert out there on the read option. He picked up the phone. He took notes from that coach. He wanted to pick his brain. He wanted to know, how can I use this talent? He didn't say, all right, I'm going to fit this round peg in this square hole, and that's it.
And by
He's
the
like,
way,
I got a round peg. I need to change my hole from square to round.
at that moment, Ozzie Newsome, who was the GM at the time,
Mhm.
told Harbaugh, we are moving on from Flacco. So he had to, it was, it was either get with it or lose your job.
But no, I'm just saying, a lot of coaches would have held their own, saying, listen, I want a Super Bowl. I'm going to do it this way. If you want to fire me at the end of the season, midseason, whatever. But my credential says I can win
Yeah.
doing it this way. He
Yeah.
didn't hold on to that. He was willing to change. He was willing to evolve as a coach. There's a lot of coaches that's pigheaded that wouldn't do that. They're like, my way. And Kyle's one of them. Kyle Shanahan is one of them. It's my way. It's my plays. We don't. Brock Purdy can't even call an audible at the line of scrimmage. Kyle gives him 3 plays. 3 plays. Says you have one of these 3 plays to pick from. Don't veer from these 3 plays.
I think that's ridiculous.
It is. Look. I love the 49ers. I don't agree with that.
Yeah, that's going to be a problem coming later on, because once the quarterback evolves, he's going to see something, and now you got a real problem.
And that's what you want. That's as far as a coach, isn't that what you want? Like,
Yeah,
isn't that what made Peyton so great?
well, Shanahan, his father, was like, look at, we called and stuff, but we got to trust John. John sees certain things. And if you
Mhm.
don't trust that the guy sees certain things or doesn't see certain things, then you're wasting your luscious black hair, and that's why it's turning gray.
Yes. Yeah. No, listen, I'm in total agreement. It's I don't even want to say that it's pigheadedness. It's almost borderline arrogance.
To be careful,
Like,
Greg. You're turning Commander
I
red.
am. I am. I can't help it. You know how
Commander red.
passionate I get when I get talking about this. And believe me, I love Kyle. I really do. I know I had a little bit of love hate with him throughout the year, but it was a rough year all around for us. I believe we could turn it around next year, but he's very he's arrogant as hell. He really is.
I think he got a problem, but that's me.
You know.
I think you might have a
So-
problem there. All right.
All I know is that if we wanted to trade Kyle Shanahan to another team that needs a head coach, we would get a first-round pick for him. That's all I know.
And then I think they would have a problem.
You know.
Trade him to Arizona. See if he wants.
No, never to in division. Because, I mean,
Why?
Kyle is a good coach. He is a
Yeah.
good coach. He's been to 2 Super Bowls. He's
All right.
lost 2, but he's a good coach.
He's lost 3.
Well, 2 with us.
Yeah.
As a head coach, he lost 2.
Well,
As a head coach, he lost 2. That other
All you
one,
gotta do-
you could put the blame on him all you want, but he wasn't the head coach.
all you got to do is teach him how to run the ball when you're up
You know?
28-3. Really, I mean, it's not that. Difficult. It's when you're up 28-3, you are the head coach because you could just run the ball,
Listen,
pick
I
up
get
3-4 yards.
I get it. And for
Well-
somebody whose system predicates on running the ball, like Shanahan's does, it was a shocker he didn't.
You just run the clock out and the game is over when you're up by that much. You are the offensive coordinator. You are basically the head coach.
Yes, but also as the offensive coordinator, no, you're not the head coach, but
Here's what I
as
want
the
you to do.
offensive coordinator, if they're stacking the box, you would think that you had passing lanes.
I want you guys to get absolutely blackout drunk later because you will anyway. I don't want you to play Madden.
The problem was with that defense that they were playing against. They'd come back and they'd falsely stack the box. They were dropping back, and no every time that Matt Ryan would go to the line, they would be like, "All right, we're going to check out of this running play because the box there's 8-9 people here right now." And then they try to pass it over the top or down the middle. And then what New England was doing, they were just dropping all their linebackers back. They were bringing it. They looked like they were bringing everybody in, but they were just dropping everybody back in zone coverage, and they had no answer for it.
No, but
No answer that last quarter and a half.
I want you guys to get blackout drunk. I mean, stupid silly, right? Room, fans, everything spinning. And then I want you to set a Madden score to 28-3 and just run the ball the rest of the game and see if you win or lose. No, because I think you'll still win. I'm a weird guy like that. Let's get to these games today, huh?
All right, absolutely. Let me bring these games up here.
Who we betting today, huh? Who we betting?
All right, our first game. We got it right here on the docket. Let's see, NFL. We got Washington Commanders at the Philadelphia Eagles. Commanders are getting 6 points. Over under is 46.5. Money line plus 215 for Washington, negative 265 for the Commanders. I'm sorry, negative 265 for the Eagles. One big thing about this game that everybody needs to know is Payne, defensive tackle for Washington, is not playing. That is a huge deal. I brought his name up last week when we were talking about Washington, how good he is on that front line on a very porous Washington defense already, but he's very good at stopping the run. He is not playing.
Yeah, I mean, look, this comes down to it's been a good run, right, Commanders? It's been a good run. You know, to me, Tampa Bay's defense was not bad, but banged up all year. I mean, there's a way that you become the best offense. It's because you need the most offense, right? Cincinnati, right? Tampa Bay, right? Like, right. If you have the best offense, it's not always a great thing. You kind of want to be top 10 so that your defense is top 10 as well. Right? We want to be able to win and lose and be able to trust the other side of the ball as a team. Philadelphia can do that. Philadelphia's got a fantastic defense. I actually think Jaden Daniels will run out of juice here. Eagles win by 9, Gridiron says. Whoa! All right, he's putting it out there.
Yes,
the gauntlet is laid. Eagles win by 9. How am I going to argue with that?
Listen, Barkley's a different animal right now. The way you went into playoffs, it's been a proven system throughout the life of the NFL. You run the ball, you play great defense. What does the Eagles do best? They run the ball and they play great defense.
Yeah.
Thing that scares me is Jalen Daniels. He's a different type of rookie. Anybody that watched that game last week, every blitz that they had, he just sat back in that pocket and he looked perfect. He just nice, calm, delivered the ball, checked it down to who he needed to check it down to. No stupid mistakes. He is playing great. And what did I say last week about that Washington game? I said Jalen Daniels scares me, but I still like the other team.
Yeah, and that holds true. But here's the thing. So Tampa Bay lost a ton of momentum when they ran a trick play end around on their 10-yard line. Right?
Or the Lions.
No. This was prior week. This was Tampa Bay.
Oh, okay, the week before.
Lost a lot of momentum. Washington grabbed the momentum. It got tight at the end. Tampa lost because they lost that momentum. Detroit began running trick plays and a turnover here, a turnover there. Then they ran a trick play. Jameson Williams became the quarterback of the team, and Jared Goff it was replicated to a guy standing there watching a trick play go poorly.
Mm-hmm.
Washington continued with the momentum that they had from the turnovers earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And both teams, I feel like, needed to do this because their defenses were beat up and banged up. I mean, we love Jalen Daniels, but he was playing against backups and guys that were really injured and could only play maybe 30 snaps. And that's all they did.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Banged up, beat up, couldn't really go all that well, and then did their best. That is not the case here.
He still beat the team that beat the Vikings the previous week.
No, I get that.
2 weeks.
But that's not what he's doing here. He's going
But
up
I'm just saying.
He's going up against a stacked
that Lions team was still a good team, even though they had a lot of injuries on that defense. That Lions team was still very, very good.
Yeah.
They still took the division. They were still still took that division.
They're not this Philly defense. In fact, what was it? There was I think there was 5 weeks left in the season, and Philadelphia was starting to come on and really start to dominate games. And it's been the Detroit story all year. And it's we said it actually. And then another franchise came out and said, they're like, the Eagles might be the best team in the NFC because Jalen Hurts, that dude looks injured. Let's just throw this out there. Jalen Hurts looks injured after week 2 in the NFL every year. He does. He gets up like my grandmother, and she's 88 years old. He just gets out. He looks exhausted. He looks banged up, bruised up. So, I just maybe this is the player we're getting now, but he does not need to dominate a game.
Especially having Barkley back there. He does not need to. All he needs to do is just his bare minimum. Let Barkley do all the work.
The one thing that kind of, I don't know what you want to say, it worries me is his relationship with AJ Brown. He clearly favors Devonta Smith at this point, which is fine. I get it. But is AJ Brown dropping passes? Because I've seen a couple that were in his hands, and I'm like, man, that's in your hands. And he's just kind of he's dropped a few that you kind of start to wonder, were they dropped or thrown to the ground? Because Jalen Hurts doesn't have this rocket. He throws a good ball, but I mean, it's something that needs to be talked about at least, because I think it adds a little bit of weight to the game if you're throwing a ball to him in a moment. Right, just like last week, and the thing just gets slapped out, and he's sitting there reading a book again. It's a little interesting to me, not in a good way. But I do. I think Philly handles this game. They lost the last one because Kenny Pickett was their quarterback. And by the way,
Hurts went down in the first quarter. They were up 14-0 at the time,
and he didn't play poorly. By the way, Kenny Pickett didn't play poorly. It's just when you're not in the game as much as he hasn't been in the game, clock becomes a thing. And he left too much time in the clock. And Washington came down and scored.
But the Eagles aren't the only team. Washington has 6 come behind wins with the final drive of the game. 6 of them this year.
Yeah, well, I don't count
those of you that are college basketball fans that are love the NCAA tournament, the men's tournament. You guys should love this. This is basically a Cinderella story with Washington. You got a Washington team that was garbage last year, drafted a quarterback, made some moves, has won 6 games with the final drive this year. Very exciting. Making it all the way to the NFC Championship game and have a chance to make it to the Super Bowl. I mean, everybody, I'm with you. I do think the Eagles are going to win. I think they should very well handle this Washington team. But just like I said last week, they have Jalen Daniels, and that guy there, he's not your typical rookie. Tom Brady came out and said it perfectly. Like, the guy, his pocket presence is amazing for a rookie. He doesn't get flustered. He hits the checkdowns when the blitz is coming. He feels it. He waits to the final second. I mean, Brady made a comparison to him last game, how he was waiting to the last second to throw the ball. As soon as he threw it, he was getting nailed, making comparisons to Patrick Mahomes. So I mean, the guy is phenomenal, and that's what scares me is the Jalen Daniels factor. Does the luck run out today?
Daniels reminds me a little bit. He reminds me totally of Lamar Jackson. Only he throws a better out pass. He throws a better outside the hashes.
He throws a better pass. Period. Jalen Daniels throws the ball way better than Lamar does.
Lamar's gotten a lot better though. A lot.
No, he has. He's worked at his game. But Jalen Daniels is a pure passer.
Yeah,
runner second. He showed it when he was with LSU. That LSU and Florida State game that they had last year was crazy. I mean, Jalen Daniels showed why he was the best quarterback last year.
What usually happens, though, Greg, tell us, what usually happens to the Cinderella story in the Final Four?
They usually get beat. They usually end up into the wall. They get buzzsawed, this and that. But again, guys, I'm just saying, watch for the Jalen Daniels factor. If the Washington ends up winning this game, it wouldn't shock me. It really wouldn't, because of the way that they've won this year.
Well, I hope the Eagles win, because what you need in a Final Four like this is, and you usually get one, by the way, by Vegas's standards, you get one upset. And this is what the public doesn't know, because they bet favorites all the time, right? So then they get buzzsawed, like you said earlier, in these games, right? In the championship games. I've got a theory where you're going to get an upset. If you get 3 games in a day, you're getting one upset. You're getting 2 games in a day, you're getting an upset. You just got to figure out where the upset is. And the theory is like 83% true for gamblers, just in case you guys are wondering. That's pretty strong. That's when I put it out there, right? When it's been tested. When I saw, what was it? Kansas City beat Houston. Right? What happened? I got really nervous because I knew that Detroit was playing Washington late. And I thought, oh no, Kansas City won. 2 favorites aren't going to win the same day. And they didn't. It's a really good theory. So if we get the Eagles and the favorite wins early, do you know what that means late? Buffalo. Buffalo. And I wasn't rooting for Buffalo, right? Everybody's rooting for the Bills and the Bills Mafia. I think I speak for America when I say we're sick of the Chiefs. I won't have the Chiefs.
Absolutely.
We're just, we're just tired of them. It's okay. We grew tired of the Patriots. We talked about them lovingly after they were done. Right. Yeah. I don't want them to be done. I just need a break. I just need a break. I'm tired. I don't want to. By the way, I've seen the Eagles and the Chiefs. I've seen Patrick Mahomes get outplayed by Jalen Hurts in a Super Bowl and get 3 flags so they can kick a field goal. I've seen that story before. Do you guys want to watch it again? And just in case you think I'm messing around about the late flags, no more Chiefs. That's right. And just in case you think I'm messing around, go watch it on NFL Films. He got 3 calls to get down the field against a good Eagles defense. Jalen Hurts did outplay him that Super Bowl. They kicked a field goal, and everybody shut off their TVs in anger. They felt cheated and robbed, and it felt inauthentic. That's why we didn't like it. And that's why we don't want to watch it a second time.
Yeah.
Give us Bills and Eagles. Give us a Northeast juggernaut. Give me the Bills Mafia and the fan base that gets all the credit for being the meanest and angriest in Philadelphia because they threw rocks at Santa. This happened. These people love this. There's a prison in the Philadelphia Eagles stadium, right? There's a judge's chambers because they get insane, but they're passionate about their team, and so is the Bills Mafia. So let's have that Super Bowl. No one wants
How about the Eagles fan that got fired from his job for harassing 2 Green Bay Packer fans at the game?
That's okay. You know how positive that guy is? I'm going to tell you how positive. He'll just find a job harassing people's fans.
Yeah.
That's how they think. So he's like, "Well, I'll just find a job making fun of people then. They're hiring somewhere." That's how they think. They're crazy.
Yeah.
It's all the
Yeah.
ice and the
Yeah.
cold that gets in them. I do want to bring this up. I thought this is kind of important, right? Both of the teams for which I say will lose, which is the Commanders and I say the Chiefs. I think they both lose.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's tells out there on sports books right now. And I think the tells are the quarterbacks numbers. Right? So Eagles Bills will be a blue collar game. I love blue collar people. Right? So you got Jaden Daniels 222.5. And then you have Jalen Hurts with 193.5. Those are their over under passing numbers. And then for the Bills Chiefs, you have Mahomes with 259.5, and you have Josh Allen with 228.5. I believe that both quarterbacks that will be throwing will have to be throwing. If both of the quarterbacks are down in the game because it's been controlled by the teams that run the ball the best, Philly and Buffalo. If Philly and Buffalo run the ball the best, and the quarterbacks have to throw more on Washington and Kansas City, maybe they throw more. Maybe they have better statistics. Maybe Mahomes and Daniels look fantastic and they look like the best players on the field late, but they don't do enough to win. So I think it's Eagles early and I think it's Bills late. And I'll tell you what, I don't know if I bet the Eagles game. Maybe I do. Maybe I throw a little slice of pie, right? Slice of pie. But I'll tell you what, I'm taking the Bills today because I've ridden the Bills the whole time. And I believe that Josh Allen has ascended and he's had a better year than Patrick Mahomes. So with all things being equal, I'll take the Eagles today and I will take the Bills today. Bills will be my upset. I think they're the most talented, by the way, team that can upset. Right?
Oh, I agree. I like the Bills here. I like the Bills so much to win the Super Bowl this year. I think this is Josh Allen's year. I think that team is built for him, built around him. That's what scares me right here. Swifty. NFL wants the Chiefs in the Super Bowl so bad for the fact that the millions of fans that normally wouldn't watch it will watch it because they want to see their girl. Even though she's not performing, she's not doing anything except for up in the press box or up in the luxury box cheering on her guy. They still want to see her once or twice just for that. Don't get it, but
I mean, everybody's mad at it. They're like, oh, well, I don't want to see Taylor Swift. She doesn't run the cameras.
Yeah, I know. The NFL does. The NFL is the one that's doing it. And I know what they're doing it because it's bringing in viewers that normally wouldn't watch the game.
Just like the guy on your evening news or whatever news network, he just reads the teleprompter. You can hate him, but his job is just to read the box in front of him. I don't know who wrote the box.
It's like Ron Burgundy. Anchorman. He just reads the teleprompter. He'll read anything you put on there.
I don't know. I don't know who wrote the box. Let's start there. I don't know who approved the box or the words on the box. I don't know any of those things. But when they're like, oh, you know what that guy is? That guy's this. It's like, well, that guy's just reading a box. He's not that special. You want to know how I know he's not that special? He needs a makeup person. She needs a makeup guy. They need makeup. They're not that special. They need to be made up. And some of the words they read are anyway. Oh, you're right.
Yeah, I'm fine. Yep.
So, everyone today is going to tell you to worry about Patrick Mahomes. And I think the narrative is going to be the Chiefs are the Chiefs until they're not the Chiefs anymore. That I don't even know what that. I know what it means. It sounds dumb, and it is. That's why we don't say things like that here. Right? The fact of the matter is the Chiefs have underperformed all year. I don't know, but can they turn it on when needed? Or will consistency prevail? Because Baltimore tries to turn it on against Buffalo when needed, and they dropped passes. Consistent Buffalo has been all year. I think prevails. And I just listen, the Commanders, it's been a fine story. But to have this wide of a spread in this moment is Duke Butler, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It's when Butler makes the NCAA championship and they're playing against the Blue Devils stacked lineup. It's just that one's not gonna. You can do parlays here. You can do whatever you want. I think that somehow, Patrick Mahomes. I would not bet on the Jaden Daniels over passing yards. I'm going to say that right now.
Mm-hmm.
I would not do that. However, I would take the Patrick Mahomes 359.5, and I think the number lands on 363. Needs to be said.
I do like the over in the Washington Eagles game, 46.5.
You like that?
I think there's going to be a lot of points scored in that. I mean, as good as the Eagles defense is, the Washington's going to score points. They just
what do you have on the other one.
On the other one, I like Buffalo this game.
No. What's the over under on the Buffalo? What's the over?
Okay, we didn't even go through that. All right, the Buffalo game. Buffalo's getting 1.5. Over under is 48.5. Money line plus 105 for the Bills. Negative 125 for the Chiefs.
So I have, and I'm on a different sports book. I'm down here in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
I've got 46.5 over under Commanders Eagles.
Yep, that's what I have.
Okay, I thought, or no, I'm sorry. You have 46.5. I have 47.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay.
Yeah, I have 46.5. So that's a whole nother point. So I do like the over in that.
I kind of like the under. I like the under there. I don't, again, I think it's going to be ball control, clock, all this stuff. I don't think there's really, to me, there's not a special offense here. There's just a special defense. I understand.
Washington's offense, I mean, you have to put it up there. And then with Barkley running the ball, I mean,
I know Barkley running the ball, but a special offense to me can do everything. And I don't know whether Jalen Hurts can. He hasn't shown me. At other times,
he's shown you all year what he can do.
I don't think he's healthy. That's what I'm getting at. The Commanders, yeah, they've been fine. Bills in, yes. Swifty and Chiefs, no. No Swifty, no Chiefs, huh?
Listen, I'm with you. I don't want to see it either, but I'm just saying what the NFL wants.
Yeah, I don't. You know what? I don't think the NFL wants it.
I know they do. And if you can watch the Chiefs game and just say that by the calls that they're getting left and right. So that's why that game scares me.
Here's what I think the NFL wanted. Let me go on the record. I think what the NFL wanted was this game. The NFL wanted Bills Chiefs. That's what they wanted.
Oh yeah, they do. But they want the Chiefs to win.
And I think that they want the Bills to win. The NFL does want Swift. I don't think so. I think the NFL would much like look at if you get Taylor Swift in another Super Bowl and you get the Chiefs to win 3 in a row. That's great, right? Patrick Mahomes is better than Tom Brady. Tom Brady's never won 3 in a row, right? The narrative is short-lived.
No team has ever won 3 in a row. No team has ever won 3 in a row. The only team ever to make it to 3 consecutive Super Bowls was the Bills, and they lost all 3.
Right. The narrative is short-lived, right? It's a narrative that dies very quickly. But if Patrick Mahomes loses to Josh Allen twice in a season, by the way, on the way to Josh Allen's first Super Bowl win, now the narrative becomes, wow, has Josh Allen surpassed Patrick Mahomes as the best quarterback in the league? And can the Bills go back to back? And oh, by the way, now Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady both have 2, but couldn't get up and over the mountain of getting 3 in a row. It's a bigger ball of wax.
Yes, but those storylines are for the football fans, for the fans that are already going to watch the game. What the NFL wants is those eyes that weren't going to watch the game.
Yeah,
and that's what Swift brings to that.
You're only going to get a moment of time.
But that's the NFL isn't looking for them to watch the whole game. If they could get you to tune in, that's all they care about, because tuning in one time boosts those ratings dramatically. And with higher ratings means more money for the NFL when it comes to renegotiating those contracts. So whatever eyes they can get, no matter how they do it, they want it.
I think you'll get it once. We do have to remember that the Taylor Swift era tour is over. It's over.
I get it too, but
It's been
she's
done.
still one of the biggest artists, if not the biggest artist going.
I think it'd be, yeah. And I think if we get Bills Chiefs again next year after the Bills win a Super Bowl, I think it's more valuable of a rivalry. I think it's more valuable to the NFL. It's more valuable for the fans.
But the NFL isn't guaranteeing to have Swift there. Her and Kelsey could break up anytime.
Well, that's not going to happen. They'll have them.
Listen. I'm just saying. I don't want it. I'm not saying I want it. I am just trying to say what the NFL wants and why they want that.
They'll have this big off-season argument, Swift and Kelsey, right? And they'll almost break up, but then they won't. They'll stay together, and they'll get married at next year's Super Bowl when Kansas City makes it there. Right? No, I'm saying, like, if we're looking for, for all of you daytime soap opera people, that's it right there. What was
Guys, listen, we could get a repeat of the old Super Bowl. We can get Bills versus Washington. We can watch. Bills could get revenge on Washington.
Kind of. They'd be playing the Commanders this time, and not.
Yeah, they're still Washington.
Real. No, you know what I'm saying?
Still Washington.
They're just playing against the W, the Commanders. It's a weird name. So yeah, I look at, especially, I'm going to be watching early. I'm going to be watching this Eagles game. Okay, because I think it's very important that if the Eagles win, I will be betting heavily on my theory that there will be one underdog to win. Mm-hmm. And if the Commanders win, I'm sorry. We do have to consider the other side. I don't want to. Mm-hmm. Wedding. Gridiron thinks it'll be a wedding too. See, I'm telling you. Oh, well, he's not excited about the wedding, but it'll be like the Royals getting married, It's weird, but all the stations will be tuned in. A Super Bowl wedding? It's never happened. Yeah, I know.
But we could easily see both underdogs win today. We could see it. It's not out of the realm of possibility. Am I betting that? No. What I'm going to bet is I'm going to do my famous tease. I am teasing the Eagles along with the Bills.
What are you getting? You're going to tease the Eagles will be getting 60 points and the Bills will be getting 80 points.
What I'm doing, I'm teasing the Eagles, which will drop down to a pick 'em. All they have to do is win. And with the Bills, I'll be getting 7.5.
Yeah, that's a good bet. That one will work.
So that's what I'm going to do, and I might just put a straight bet on the over on the Eagles Washington game because I really think that's going to go over.
Do you really? I don't like that.
Yeah, over. I really do. Listen, I am giving Washington way more credit than what you are, just because of what I've seen. I've watched 4 of their games this year completely, and then I've watched a couple more just on that final drive, and that offense impresses me, man. It really does. That defense does not, which is why I think Eagles are going to score. But I think the Commanders are going to score on the Eagles. That's why I think it is going to be an over game. Ultimately, I think the Eagles pull out. I think Barkley has close to 200 yards. I think he has about 180. So I don't know what his over-under is for rushing. Do you have that there?
So I did want to mention this. If you could find it there, but they actually put this information out. I'll see if I could find it here really quick while we're on. This was a great mention that you just brought that up. So DraftKings has Saquon Barkley's rushing prop, the highest of all time, and it's not there down here. They said that it crested at 130.5. It was the highest rushing prop that they had ever put out of all time with Saquon Barkley's. Mm-hmm. I have 125.5. I have it it's minus 115 if you want to play it. Not quite even money. But I do think it was a little interesting that was the highest rushing prop they have ever put out. Mm-hmm. Which tells me, Philly's just going to be happy. You empty the tank in these games. Saquon Barkley could rush the ball 30 times. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that I think that Washington can compete early, but as we've seen in both of their victories, Tampa started to get ahead of the chains late in that game, rushing the ball. Detroit was able to. I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs is awesome. He is, for me, right now. I believe that he'll be my number one fantasy running back next year.
Ooh, okay.
That's a little.
Um,
We'll see what happens, but that's the way I'm feeling. I don't like running backs that go deep into the playoffs.
mhm.
Just saying, you know that.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
I'm going through here, and I don't have a minimum player prop, but I am able to scroll back and forth as far as what I think his rushing is going to be. I like the 160 plus. You're getting plus 267
Oh,
line on that. So that's probably what I'm going to do. I'll probably just drop $10 on that on over 160 yards rushing.
well, I think what's interesting is he's had late touchdowns. This is what I
Mhm.
want you to consider when we're talking about that rushing prop, right? And he's been around 120 yards, 130 yards,
Mhm.
and then he breaks one for 70 yards. And that puts him over like 205, 206 in that area, right? So think about what Saquon Barkley has done before he breaks that massive run late. That's what I
Mhm.
want you guys to think about before you place this bet. Because if he doesn't get that massive run late, and Philly doesn't need to do anything like that, or he doesn't get that luck. It's a little bit of luck, then it's the under. And he'll still have a massive game, right? 20 carries, 110 yards, 112 yards, and they just need to knee it 3 times late. And here comes the TV unplugged from the wall, making its way out of the living room, being spiked in the middle of the road because you went over because you thought that Saquon Barkley was going to go over 160 yards. I do want to kind of say that.
No, I get it. I mean, you could be safe and just do 100 yards if you want, but you're not going to get a return on your money. I think he's going to rush for over 180 yards personally, especially against a
Wow.
porous Washington defense with who's going to be even more porous with Payne not there. I think he's going to have a nice game. I think he's going to have close to 200 yards, a touchdown or two. So that's why I'm going with the 160. I could go 180 or 170 and get a little bit better odds, but I feel very comfortable about that 160 mark. I think
I
he's going to hit that. I think they're going to run the heck out of him. They're going to lean on him.
You know, I do again, I just want to caution people because I do think, you're probably right. And there's a lot of, positivity and enthusiasm behind what you're saying. But Kenneth Gainwell's ticks of carries have been coming up.
Hmm.
And right, you said Washington defense, not very good. Well, then Kenneth Gainwell should be able to get me 4 or 5 yards if Barkley needs a little break. Right? And
Hmm.
and it's been going from, like, 4 carries a game to 5 to 7, and you're starting to see an uptick in Kenneth Gainwell, and I just got I feeling it could be under.
Hmm. Um, I'm trying something here. I want to see something real quick.
Uh-oh, what are you doing?
Uh,
What are you doing?
that would give me. They won't let me do a parlay that way, huh? I'm gonna have to turn
Ooh.
it into an SPG. What I wanted to do was, I think Barkley's going to have a. I think he's going to have at least 25 yards receiving or 40 yards receiving. I was trying to do a receiving and a rushing with him,
Yeah.
seeing what it would pay out. But for some reason, they're not letting me do this here.
You want a surefire pick? Barkley anytime touchdown.
Yeah, no, I agree with that
No, but
100%.
this is why. Because Adam Schefter has just reported in his 73 starts, Jalen Hurts has only taken snaps from centers Cam Jurgens. Hold on, we're getting the rest of it. Cam Jurgens and Jason Kelsey. If Jurgens cannot play today, Landon Dickerson could shift from guard to center, and Tyler Steen would replace Dickerson, which means probably no tush push on the 1 yard line.
Okay.
Barkley.
Yeah.
You're not going to do a tush push with the backup set or with the guard. It's not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Not on the 1, not on the 2, where you would normally be comfortable with making that call, which does lend to more, Saquon Barkley, in my opinion. What do I know? I'm silly.
I have to go in and really get involved in these SPG picks to see what I want to do here.
Oh my
But
God.
I do like like I said, I do like Barkley for over plus 160, over 160 yards. That's one I'm definitely doing.
Okay.
I will do the anytime touchdown by Barkley because I'm with you. That's an easy one. That should be a no-brainer. I know the odds probably aren't the greatest, but I mean, crap, if you could pick up a couple, anytime touchdown, negative 222. So if you put down $20, payouts 29.09. So you basically win $19 on $29. That's not too bad, actually. Anytime score.
Let's see.
You win $9. You win $9.09.
If you bet.
Now you want to go 2+ touchdowns with Barkley. That's plus 255.
196 on Buffalo pays 401.
Buffalo straight out up or what points?
$196 pays you 400 total.
Nice.
For all you Bills fans that don't want to pay your mortgage, I just did it for you.
Yeah, I mean, you're getting double your money, a little bit over double your money, plus 105.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's good. Absolutely. I like that.
Bet your car. Who cares?
Who cares?
Who cares?
He's not saying bet your house this week. He's saying bet your car this week.
Bet your car.
You don't have your house anymore.
Let's go. Hey, why can't you make it to work this week? And you're like, you know what? I bet my car, so I had to.
You're gonna have to wait next week until I win, and I can get my car back.
The guy that was walking on the highway, it's me. I was dedicated, and then it got too cold, so I went back. That's all I got this week. What do you? Anything else, Greg?
No, that's about it. I'm definitely doing the teas I told you guys about, the Philadelphia and Bills teas. I am definitely taking the over for the Washington Philly game, and I will be taking the anytime touchdown for Saquon Barkley. I will be messing around with an SPG bet as far as rushing yards, receiving yards, stuff like that. But you guys are pretty good at figuring that stuff out. Just don't go overboard. You guys hear me saying about 180 yards with Saquon Barkley. That's a lot of yards. But that's just what I think. If you guys don't think that, then bet lower. Bet the 120 yards.
Bet the 100 right arm.
What's that?
I'll give you my right arm and my first child.
But I'm not saying, I'm just saying, guys, we're giving you what we're going to take. We're giving you what we think is best. You guys don't need to go up that high as far as receiving yards and rushing yards. You guys can always go a little bit lower.
Yeah, I mean, you could bet $5 on the game and dance around your house like you want.
No, I mean, as far as rushing yards, instead of taking.
No rushing yards. I like the Barkley rushing yards, by the way. I don't. I wouldn't play it. Oh, and you're back. Look at that.
Yeah, like I was saying, is you don't have to take the rushing yards where I said. You can take the rushing yards at 120. You're not getting as good of odds, but you know Barkley's going to run the hell out of the ball. You know they're going to lean on Barkley. So if you want to take a bet at 120 over 120 yards, do that. I'm just saying, me personally, listen, if I think they're going to hit 180 yards, you're damn right they're going to hit 120.
Can you get alt rushing yards?
Yes, I had it.
I'm trying to find out. Oh, yeah, I could find. All right, so what's the alt 65? Oh, God. Never mind. There's no odds there. Alt 100. Saquon Barkley minus 325. That's the best you could get because everything else is 80 rushing yards. What are you getting?
Yeah, I mean,
minus 900.
Well, yeah. I mean, you don't want to go too low because there's no money to be made. But
I thought you can make some money at 80 plus. But
yeah,
geez, I guess not.
I mean,
They've really taken the steam out of Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, but that's because he's gonna run the ball. Your best bet would probably be over 110 yards then,
Or
minus
picking
202. I mean,
picking
I'm
the
not gonna
Philly
do that
under.
because I want to make a couple extra bucks. And like I said, I think he's gonna get close to 200. So I'm gonna go by what my prediction is, um, and I'm gonna go with that plus 160 at plus 267. I'm not going to drop a lot of money on that. Not even close to a lot of money on that, but I'll throw
No.
5-10 bucks on that.
I do like, you know what else I like here? I like Zach Ertz. There's great value here. Zach Ertz over 3.5 receptions. I love that.
Okay.
It's minus 135. The under is plus 105. So they're basically they're letting you know that that's a good bet.
Mm-hmm.
Yet it's not insane, right? You're not getting terrible odds like the whole Barkley thing. By the way, Jaquan Barkley to go over 100 yards is still a minus 350 compared to this Zach Ertz. All you need is 3.5 receptions.
Yeah.
Right? We like Jaden Daniels to be passing anyway because we think they'll be playing from behind. And if he's dinking and dunking a little bit, who's going to be the guy?
Mm-hmm.
Zach Ertz. By the way, there's a vendetta too. Zach Ertz used to play for Philly until Philly said, "Hey, we do not want you anymore. Goodbye."
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I like a player that has opportunity plus incentive.
Mm-hmm.
I actually
Another
like him.
thing I'm probably going to do is these betting sites a lot of times still have a bonus odds for live bets as far as for your drives. I'm going to wait till the game starts, wait for Philly's first drive. I think they go down, they score a touchdown right away with their first drive. I'm getting plus 160 right now for that, but I also have a bonus promo for that, which will raise that up some. So I wish I had it here in front of me. What it
Bonus
would
promo.
be. Yeah, for touchdown drives. Boost your bets. It's not telling me how much you're getting.
3 o'clock. We got less than 2 hours till game time starts.
I can't wait. Yeah, it's not coming. It just wants to load here. So anyways, but use them up, guys. If you're watching the game live, you got a gut feeling that they're going to go down and score a touchdown. Put a bet on that live drive. And like I said, a lot of these sites will have a bonus odds for you for that. So take them up on that. Do that one bet, get that plus 200 bonus odd on top of whatever it is. So plus 200 on top of whatever that was. Let's say you're getting plus 300. That's really good odds.
Yeah.
Not saying drop $100 if they get a touchdown. Drop $5 on that. Why not?
You want to take advantage of opportunities that present
momentum.
Right? Yeah. If they're giving you 30%, you think it's a good play, take the 30%. But God knows they would take 30% from you.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And they are with that Barkley over 100 yards bet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That should not be minus 350.
No, but it's because of how Barkley's been running the ball. He's been running the hell out of the ball. And they've been leaning on him to do it. So
I know.
It's actually that could I don't want to say he's getting too tired because it doesn't look like he's not. He looked great last week. So
yeah, Gainwell's starting to tick up though, and I'm a little concerned.
What's Gainwell's over under for rushing yards?
That's a great question.
We might want to do that.
That's a great question because I mean there's not a one thing that you have to do here. So rushing yards for Gainwell, where player props is what you have to click first, right? That's what's interesting. That's touchdowns. Yeah, you're probably not going to get it. Kenneth Gainwell
plus
over 8.5.
See, I have two options for him on my end. I have plus 25 yards, over 25 yards. He's at plus 447, and over 40 yards, he's at plus 1,140.
I've got an over under of 8.5
yards or carries.
Yeah, with the under being favored. What?
Wow. Wow. I like the over on that.
So do I.
I love it. I wish I had that on my end. I don't.
8.5.
Yeah.
So what he's
Yeah,
got?
I mean, even right here with rushing yards and receiving yards together, plus 25 yards receiving and rushing together. He's at plus 256. Gainwell is.
I don't even have him listed.
No, yeah, I have him on here. So I might do something like that.
That's not a bad little move. I like that.
Because I mean, he can catch the ball too. So
yeah, I just think you're going to see more of them than you think. I think over 8.5 yards.
Yeah. What site is that?
That is sorry, my voice. It's Hard Rock down in Florida.
Hard Rock.
It's only available down here. So, but
it is okay. So you Floridians, check up Hard Rock. Get that bet in 8.5 carries. We all know that our 8.5 yards. We all know Gainwell's going to get more than that.
I think so.
Yeah,
I mean, Barkley's going to need to
believe he was. He's not.
Huh?
It's hard to believe he's not.
8.5 yards. I mean, that's. Sometimes they hide those ones though, and that's the ones that you got to play.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. All right.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is the Every Point Sports Podcast, January 26th, AFC, NFC Championship games. We'll be back here next week talking Super Bowl. Wow, we've made it all the way to the top of the NFL season. It's been a long, strange trip as always, but we're here, and we're here to make money for you guys. Greg, any last words?
Hold on 1 second. We got one more comp. Oh, right here.
Great job.
One more comment.
Good iron. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. Awesome. My only thing is always, guys, just remember, always jump over, give us a like, give us a follow, give us a sub. Enjoy your weekend, enjoy our videos, and be excellent to each other.